Yeah, we ready. We ready. Hey,
Live
hey.
and
Yes,
direct. What's
yes.
up, Laquita?
What's going on, Vic? Trying to stay warm.
Trying to stay
Trying
warm.
to
Well,
stay
ladies
warm.
and gentlemen across the nation, as you know, Laquita and I broadcast from the Texas area. I'm in Dallas. She's a little bit further south and down in the Killeen area. And we got hit with snow. We are snowing in
Snow and
Texas.
ice in Texas. They're not ready for that. Like the
No.
infrastructure is not ready for that in any shape, form, or fashion. It's freezing. Like I think last week made it really bad. The ice and the snow came. It stayed for like a day. The temperature warmed up, so stuff started melting, and then the temperature dropped dramatically. So everything was covered in ice on Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, everything was covered in ice. The snow was still coming, and by East Coast standards or other northern places, we don't have a lot, but for Texas, it's a lot. And last week that was in the news, the big pileup there in Dallas. I believe it was one in Austin as well. Road conditions were rough, and when you live in a hot environment, you're not used to driving on this stuff, and so a lot of people, there was a lot of accidents out there.
Absolutely. It was horrible last week. And now we are dealing with, I know in the Dallas area, something like 6 to 8 inches of snow. So it's not just that little dusting that normally Southern folks talk about when it snows. But anyway, we've been sheltered in, not just due to COVID reasons outside, but because of weather reasons now. And we're so happy that we have this platform socially because we can do this even when it's snowing outside.
Right.
And we have a great guest on with us this week. So all of you entrepreneurs out there, real estate investors, folks out there that like to use social media to attract more business to you, you have a treat today. Tuning in, we have a fabulous guest that is going to be talking about everything from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, I think LinkedIn ads. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to have Miss Maryam Fikri. How are you, ma'am?
That was a lovely introduction. I'm doing great. I'm so honored.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us. And you're on the West Coast, right? California?
I am. I had to be quiet during your talk about the snow because I'm like complaining over 50-degree weather over here.
We woke up this morning with 7. I was 7.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I was gonna say normally that's us complaining about 50-degree weather, but yeah, this is a whole nother level of it this time. So, but we're very happy to have you join us today. Obviously, what we typically do here is we really like to inspire aspiring entrepreneurs or people that are already doing business of their own that are looking to grow. They want to scale their business in some form or fashion, and I think we would be remiss in not having somebody on that can help people grow their business through the social media platform. And so very happy to have you here today. And I understand that you met Laquita through a fellow coach of ours. Is that correct?
That's correct. We all share the same coach at the same time, Marcus.
Yep. Shout out to Mr. Marcus.
Shout out to Marcus.
Great connections. Yeah. She
from the MO Academy, the Marcus Ogden Academy.
Yeah, she and I met through Marcus pretty much for the same reason that he introduced me and you, Vic. We were real estate investors. But she definitely has an edge up in she already understood the necessities of branding and marketing, whereas at that time I didn't. Like, you go through these programs and they tell you how to find the deals, how to find the buyers, how to look for the motivated sellers. You look at they teach you all the strategies, but the branding, marketing, advertising, that's not really something that's at the forefront. And I actually have no issue with the company that we went through. I just wish we would have learned this piece first. Like that was like the last class I took. And I took that class. I was like, well, shoot. Why didn't I do that first? Yeah, it's like they should have taught us that part first because it's important. That's the engine that's going to keep you going. But I know today she's going to share some wonderful, wonderful insights with us that will not only help real estate investors, but help other entrepreneurs that are trying to level up. You have to get noticed. That's really important. No matter how great and wonderful you are, nobody knows you exist. If you don't get to become a household name, something that's in their mouth all the time, you might be in a little trouble.
How about that? Well, Maryam, her company is Manifest Strategy. Am I correct?
You are correct.
I love that title, Manifest Strategy. I'm surprised there's not been anybody else out there that has copywritten that name before you. So tell us about your company. I was
surprised too when I was looking up the name, because manifest is my favorite word. I think manifestation is my favorite word, I think, in the English language. So I found it really powerful and intentional when I chose it.
When did you start the company?
I actually started it this past year. When the pandemic hit. So, me and Laquita, we partnered together on a real estate deal, and I have been working in marketing previously. That's kind of my trade, and specifically online digital marketing. And this past year, when everything kind of went on lockdown, it became more and more apparent the need for businesses, not only small businesses, but large businesses, to really increase their dependency on online media. Because, look at us right now. Here we are having a virtual conference essentially, just because we can't meet in person. And so I started it last year because it started just several people reaching out to me saying, hey, I know you know how to run Facebook ads. How can I do that for my business? And so it just kind of grew from there.
So what is your background before this? I know you got extensive marketing. Kind of give the folks a little bit of the background before you even got to this company.
Yeah, so my background is actually in tech. I've worked for several tech companies, particularly in marketing. I've worked for a couple startups, and then I started working for LendingTree, which was more corporate. And then I started inching more into real estate just to build wealth and long-term wealth that way and passive income. So my main background is digital marketing for small and large businesses.
Very awesome. I can see how that could benefit you in your current business.
Definitely. She has that background. And when I was struggling trying to use a particular tool, Maryam was like, Laquita, I can help. Laquita, I can help. Laquita, I can help. And Laquita is not known for being patient, right? I'm kind of stubborn. But she kept saying, Laquita, I can help you figure this out. She looked at the platform and was like, oh yeah, I can do this. And what did I do? I did not take her up on her wonderful offer, and I did pay the price. And so when she told me about the company, I was like, yes. And again, I forgot she did that. So I'd already partnered with a different company. I was like, okay, we're gonna fix this though. We're gonna fix this because investors, entrepreneurs alike need to know about Manifest Strategy. Because Maryam definitely can help. She's been in this field for a number of years. So none of these algorithms and different things are new to her. These are things that are second nature. And so I know in one of our conversations, we were particularly talking about LinkedIn and what can be successfully done on LinkedIn versus some of the things that you would recommend people stay away from. So if you're talking to me and Vic strictly about our real estate investing, let's start there. What would you recommend? How would we start doing these ad campaigns, and what would we put in them, and what platforms would you choose?
That's a great question. And I think especially if you don't have, for small business owners, the experience of like working in, these platforms, setting up a budget, running the campaign, it kind of can feel a little overwhelming. So I think the number one thing, stepping back, is what is the main goal? Is it let's say for real estate, is to find buyers, or is it to find homeowners that are selling, right? And so understanding your target audience is the number one key. So, there are various different platforms that exist. Facebook is one of the most powerful platforms just because the algorithm is it's almost creepy how great it is. To be honest, like it's so powerful that they're kind of running into some issues with people trying to get a little bit more privacy. LinkedIn is also a very powerful platform because people are on there for professional reasons. So the number one question is actually, you know, who is your target audience? So relaying the question back to you, like, what is an example of who you're trying to target?
So for me, right now I'm specifically targeting distressed sellers for mobile homes within the central Mississippi area. I want to acquire mobile homes.
That's great. It's great because it's super specific. You have a geographical location. You know exactly what the stress point is. I would actually say going on Facebook would probably be better because there are more people on Facebook, and you can target them better geographically. So what I would say is you would create a Facebook campaign, and you would put in a geographic location. So within central Mississippi, you can put in zip codes, you can put in cities, you can put in particular counties within the Facebook platform. And then you would create ads that are targeted towards them. So calling it out directly. Are you trying to sell your mobile home park? We buy distressed properties, any condition, etc. And that is kind of the first step that you would do there. So Facebook is powerful because once you start running a campaign, there's this machine learning algorithm that's working in the background. It's basically like a person that's saying, okay, let me show this ad to this person. If they engage with it, great. That means this type of person is who we want. Then they show it to another person who is similar to that first person, and then they see whether they engage or not. And if they do, okay, great. There's something about these two people that are the same that are making them engage with it. So it kind of learns and gets smarter the more it's on.
So if hold on, break it down for me a little dummy style there because I'm a little slow, right? So if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, the Facebook ads work like it's AI. It does what you tell it to do, and it's noticing, okay, I think this is the kind of person that will want to see this. I think this is the kind of person that wants to see that. And based off of the people's responses, it just gets smarter.
Yeah, so to break it down more technically, you actually set an objective. So let's say the objective is landing page views or website visitors. You just want to drive people to your website. So you tell Facebook, hey, this is what success. If somebody actually clicks on my ad and goes to my page. If you're an e-commerce website, for example, maybe you would set the success event to purchase. So I want someone to buy a t-shirt. And if somebody clicks on my ad, goes to my website, goes through adds to cart and purchases, that's what's successful. So you can tell Facebook what the event is, and then it starts running. It starts showing ads to people. And then, you know, the more people that trigger that success event, do that success, click on your ad, go to this website, it then takes note of that through the Facebook pixel. And then it basically extracts everything they know about that person. So Laquita, I gave you my ad, you saw it, you're a distressed home seller trying to let go of your mobile home. You see this ad, you're like, oh wow, this is speaking directly to me. I'm gonna click on that and I'm gonna go to that website. Facebook says, hey, Laquita is the right person to show this ad. Let me learn everything I know about her, which is a lot of stuff. Let me see where she lives, what kind of pages she likes. We'll see that you like a lot of real estate pages. What kind of videos do you watch? Where, like, you know, who are your friends? Who are your connections? All of that data they'll take and they'll say, okay, let me try and find someone like Laquita. And that's how it just keeps getting smarter and smarter.
Okay.
And that's what I was going to ask you is the data that it's studying from Laquita is all based on her click activity on her Facebook page. Is that correct? Or is it going farther out than that to figure out what she's about?
Basically, every single website she's clicked on, everything she's liked, whether you watch 2 seconds of a particular video or 10 seconds of a particular video, basically every single activity that you've done, which is that's where, you know, it kind of gets a little gray area of what is moral to collect on people, because, you know, we weren't really aware of all the data they were collecting. I mean, until recently. So, but they do have that data, and they use that data in order to understand who's the next person to target.
Your target. Okay.
I was going to ask kind of a piggyback question on that, because a buddy of mine does as well, and I'm going to completely botch this up from a technical explanation standpoint, but the question is basically, he was mentioning that, I guess maybe first of the year or there's discussions about cutting out some third party, something that helps gather this data because of that privacy issue. Or maybe I'm completely off, and maybe that's what you're talking about, but he was saying that could completely change the way that people expect this whole Facebook ad thing to work. They're used to it, giving them a certain amount of data, and now whatever's happening, this could impact that. Am I even in the ballpark of know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, so there, especially in the most recent years, there's been new policy. So for Facebook, for example, there's been one policy that rolled out, housing, employment, and credit ads. So that falls within real estate. If you are running ads that have anything to do with housing, employment, or credit, then there are a certain level of restrictions on what you can and cannot do. You cannot market based off of zip code, but you can based off of region, right? There are certain things that they make that in order to prevent lawsuits and specifically discrimination, because they realize that the power that Facebook has. But more recently, so Apple is rolling out new restrictions on their new version. So iOS 14 is rolling out, and they're basically going to ask people, hey, do you want, like very directly, like, do you want apps to collect your data and use it? And a lot of people are going to say no. Yeah. So Facebook is just an app, and it's kind of at the mercy of Apple, right? Because you have your iPhone, and a lot of people have an iPhone, and if they say yes or no, you can't use my data, then Facebook can't use that data. So yeah, that's rolling out.
That on my Firefox. So I use 3 browsers depending on what I'm doing on my laptop, and Firefox is one of them. And a recent update, like with the last couple of weeks, it was a recommendation highlighted in blue. Do you want to install this, whatever it was, so that Facebook couldn't collect my data? And it was specifically said Facebook and some other things, like you don't want them in your history. You don't want them to know where you're going. So we recommend that you you download this, I think plugin or whatever it is, so that it can't do that. And I was like, well, okay, well, yeah, let me do that. Let me keep it for myself.
Yeah, I mean, as a marketer, I'm kind of torn because obviously the data is what makes it so powerful. As a consumer, I also want to protect myself as well, and I don't want these third-party companies to know so much about me, more than I even know about myself.
Right.
But at the same time, just playing devil's advocate here, I am an active user. I use Instagram. I use Facebook. Ads are there. They're going to keep happening. And I'd probably rather get ads that make more sense to me than like totally random ads. So it's a bit of a balance, but for sure right now we're in the middle of a big transition of things getting more strict from data collection.
Yeah, I think I actually feel what you're saying, because for years, I mean, yes, Facebook is all over the news, all over the world about it, but let's be honest. The strategies that Facebook is using, the algorithms, the technology is new, but the methodology probably isn't. People, for years, companies have been paying top dollar for experts to figure out how to sell their product and services to the right consumers. And we're just in a digital age. And so now in that digital age, we're doing it, in that manner. Okay, now my mailbox isn't completely full of junk advertisements, but maybe my email box is, or following me across Google and other social media platforms. I don't think it's going to really go away. And I don't think consumers really want it to completely go away, because you'll never know what's this new hot thing you want to buy if you don't know the business exists.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I totally, marketing isn't new. Marketing isn't new. And Facebook just found a way to do it extremely effectively. And, it's their technology is unmatched right now. I mean, the closest is Google. Google is also very powerful. Google Ads. The difference between Facebook and Google is Google's really meant for people that know what they want. So if I am locked out of my apartment and I need a locksmith, the first thing I'm going to do is go into my Google and say locksmith near me. And what's going to come up are Google ads for locksmiths who are, within my vicinity, if they're smart and they're running Google ads. And that's what I'll click on because that's the first thing I see. So, for a service that people need to search you, then I say Google ads is the way to go. For something that's a bit more passive, they're not going to be searching. Maybe somebody won't be searching for buyers for just my mobile home property. Or, if we're talking on e-commerce, like pink t-shirts, that's something that you can show people like, hey, do you want this? I'd be like, hey, I wasn't thinking about it. I was just actually on here to procrastinate or look at my friends. But actually, yeah, I do want that. So that's kind of the difference in platforms.
So I love that breakdown. That is a fabulous way to explain that. Because you're right. We use Google very, very specifically. I'm looking for that exact thing in this city, around the corner or near me or whatever, restaurants near me. I love that they have that type of stuff. And so I like how you just broke that down. One question that I do have is, so we always want to drive people that are watching our broadcast to our guests, to get this expertise and benefit from it in their own business. And so 2 questions that I would have for you. One, have you found, and I know you have a small sample period because it's been a year that you've been in this specific business, but you've been doing this for a while. So is there a specific industry that a client that you would work with that you enjoy working with most, that you get the best results from? We're talking about real estate, but maybe you've worked with other people that have, their own restaurant or they sell certain things. Are there certain industries that you have found to be very successful with the clients that you have worked with, or in general in the industry?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think what I find the most joy in is helping people really increase their sales and their ROI month over month. And so that's what gives me kind of the most fulfillment, is directly seeing, hey, we spent this much, we made this much, you made this much more profit because of running digital marketing advertisements. So I think that in general, all businesses can benefit from will benefit from having a social presence, and could expand their reach by running ads. But if you have a product that is sellable online, if you have a book or you have a course or you have a product that can be purchased online, I'd say that's the best type of business to run marketing spend to, especially Facebook, Instagram ads, just because the entire transaction is online and you can track every single step. You can track when someone goes to your website, you can track directly what they do on the website, and you can track when they purchase. And Facebook is just tracking every single thing, collecting each data point and becoming more and more efficient, kind of like your little worker bee doing it for you. So I would say online businesses that you can purchase something directly on site is definitely a business that can benefit from marketing, online marketing.
Very nice. Yep. Good stuff. So another big question that a lot of people are probably wondering, what about the business owner? And I don't know if this is exactly in your space. I know you mentioned the Google. Do you also work with the Google ads as well for clients, or is it more so Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn stuff?
My main sweet and sour sauce is, I've never said that before. I don't know why I said that.
I like it though. Yeah.
Sounds kind of nice though. My main sauce is Facebook and Instagram. That's where I'd say I'm an expert in. I've also run Google ads and YouTube ads, as well as LinkedIn ads. The reason why I focus mostly on Facebook and Instagram is that's where I've seen the highest ROI. the ability to scale quickly and profitably the most on. So I'm a huge advocate for Facebook and Instagram, but I've also run on other platforms as well.
Got you. So on to that note, there are people that set up, and I do it, I'm sure Laquita, everybody's done it, where you have a personal page and your business page. Is there a difference in running the ads from one of those platforms? And what is that difference?
It's a great question. Yeah. If you have a online business and that you have a dedicated business page, you should for sure run the ads off of your business page, because everything will be linked within there. It's linked to your website. It will gather all of the data and link it to your business. So you kind of want that similar to if you have a separate entity and everything's kind of split between your personal and your business entity. You want to kind of keep that mindset and operate the business as a separate entity through the accounts.
Excellent guidance. Good stuff.
So
on the other hand, off of that, if you actually have a personal brand, though, if your personal page is a personal brand, that's an exception to the rule.
Okay. So would you recommend that they keep that page just a personal profile, or do you recommend that they turn that page into what does they call it? What is it called? Man, like
a business page?
Yeah, I think, well, not necessarily a business page, it's just like oh Lord, I've seen some on the headings of people's pages and it's like that's their only page.
Like a verified page?
Or yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if your business is related to your personal brand, then you can turn it into kind of and operate it as a business page.
Okay, so my next question is, let's say I come to you and I'm a struggling small business owner, and I've been attempting to no avail to run Facebook ads. Like I'm running them, but I'm not getting I'm not happy about it. They're not producing for me. What is something that you would tell me that I would need to implement immediately to make that turnaround? Like I've been running these ads. I see the people looking, but ain't nobody buying.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. That's something that I've definitely been approached with. And the first thing is I would do an audit to see what's going on. What are you actually doing? What's going on? Like, do you have your pixel placed correctly? You know, do you have your targeting set up correctly? I would kind of look for areas that aren't following best practices. And then I would look at your creative. I mean, what is your message that you're sending? What are the ads actually look like? What is the headline? What is the post copy? Are they direct enough? Is there a CTA? Is there something that is telling people an action to do? So I would go through all of those things, and then most likely, if there's something not working, we'd figure out why.
Okay.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
Makes sense. And I've noticed that a lot of people have that issue. So like, I would assume, and I don't know, maybe this is one of your offerings as well. Copy has become like the biggest thing for people because everybody's now a broadcaster on social media. We're all doing videos and we're posting these captions, and it seems like it takes forever to figure out what actually is the right way to do things and what works. And so if someone comes to you, I know that you obviously have the great expertise in doing their ads. Is that something that you also offer to them, or do you have resources within your network to bring in somebody to help them with the copy to get that right?
Copy, yes. So post copy, what you write in above the ad, the headlines and the descriptions. That's something that I help people on. In terms of the actual ad designing, I work with a designer to help create ads that are aesthetically pleasing, but also kind of get people's attention. Because that's the whole idea, right? Like you have to think about it in terms of people are scrolling, their mind might be kind of, not really there. They're just trying to get entertainment or just distract themselves for a moment, take a rest. And so you really only have 1 to 2 seconds to grab people's attention. So it can be from a big text within the ad, right? So if you have, this little 100 by 100 square, it can be a huge text there that calls out whatever you're offering. For example, Laquita, distress mobile home parks. Like just immediately, if you have one, you'll stop and look at that because it's very, relevant to you.
Right.
So, and then once you got their attention, then you kind of, with something that's really kind of stark, then you can kind of inch in there. It can either be a video or animation of what you're trying to communicate. But you have to really think about, how do I get their attention in 1 to 2 seconds? And then also describe very succinctly what I can do to help. And all you want to do is get them to click to go to your page, right? Because then on your page, then you can go into more detail and provide more information.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that kind of is one thing. So I've heard some people say, hey, you should do longer videos. Some people say you should do shorter videos. Is there a hard rule? And again, don't give up any of your sweet and sour sauce here. We want some people to come to you. But just, like just some teasers out there. Like, is there a rule around that? And then on top of that, is it a real video camera or is a cell phone camera sufficient? Like, kind of talk about that kind of part of it.
Such a great question. And I think, I don't think there is a hard and fast rule because there's such diversity in businesses and in the types of services and products people are offering. There isn't a one, rule book that is relevant to all. There are some strategies that you can play. So definitely, no matter what you're selling, no matter what you're providing or offering, is sticking to that. How do I grab their attention in 1 to 2 seconds? Is kind of a guiding light. From there, I've seen ads that are a minute long and perform extremely well. And I've seen ads that are just a small little animation, toggle thing that has text on it. That's 3 to 5 seconds. That works extremely well. So it really depends, I would say. And that's not the greatest answer, but it's true. I mean, it really does depend on what you're trying to communicate and who you're targeting.
That makes sense.
That's an interesting answer because I'm like Vic. I've heard so much over the years. Okay, you need the video professionally done, because that's the image you want to portray. And then I've heard them, well, just do it with your phone. Hey, whip it out. You got an iPhone. You got a Samsung. Google Pixel camera is fabulous, right? So the Google phone, do that. And I've seen it on both ends. There's one particular motivational speaker that goes live like 52 times a day. And I admit, I follow him. I might get on once a day. And for the longest time, this dude is on here with his cell phone, like just regular cell phone. That's it. We had switched to StreamYard.
Yeah.
Cell phone.
Yeah.
Making crazy money. And then I noticed when he made the switch, he wasn't even using the paid version of it. Okay, I can still see the stream. What am I doing wrong? And I think it really just the thing that clicked with me. It just came whichever way you're gonna go, be consistent and just keep doing it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because that would just boggled my mind. Like, how he on here with his camera?
It's UGC content, right? It looks like user-generated content, which is a phrase of like, if me just posting a video of myself to my friends, it looks natural, it looks organic. It doesn't look like someone's selling you something. It doesn't look like you would be fooled to think, oh, this is just a regular person posting something. So it kind of, sometimes that strategy can work. And like, I've seen that too. I've seen a lot of coaches, motivational speakers, and people that are kind of selling their personal brand in a way, literally use their iPhone and are just like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I've learned over the years. This is what I'm offering.
Right.
You want to take this journey. And it's just with their personal, and it works because people are seeing it and being like, oh, this is just a regular person telling me something, as opposed to like, oh, this is a commercial.
Right. It's that different feel to it. So along those lines, are there, because we hear so much about the algorithm and this AI, and so if you're running an ad, are there times where you've met the I guess criteria? You're not doing anything on credit or housing or discriminating towards any particular targeting group, but are there scenarios where you've met that requirement, but the Facebook ads or the algorithm still compresses the number of people that are viewing your stuff?
Oh yeah. So disapprovals. Facebook has the power to disapprove your ads. And when I used to work for a corporation, LendingTree, that literally works directly within housing, within credit industry, the amount of disapprovals that we would get on a daily basis was astounding. And we had to work really closely with Facebook to understand what is it about this that is not compliant, right? And they sometimes were really vague. And we came down to it. For example, one of the rules was we're not allowed to say if then say, like, if your credit is under 600 or is above 600, you might be able to qualify for a HELOC, for example. Like, that was totally not compliant, because we're implying we know something about their financial history, which is like, that's literally, so we're like, okay, like, what can we say then? And literally they said, you need to just take away the word or your. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
If the credit score is under or over 6, okay.
It's like we went around it by being like, for Americans who have credit scores above 700, so just more general, like not saying like you in particular. Wow. But I mean, so definitely disapprovals are a thing, and something people need to be concerned about. Specifically, if you're in that financial kind of housing, employment credit.
Oh yeah. I had several ads shut down on me when I was pushing the credit ads and stuff, and so I was like, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was doing a lot of ads for employment opportunities for my call center for a while, it was like smooth sailing, and then it was like everything the same ad. Since it worked, I didn't change it. I didn't even want to change the picture, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it was just getting denied. And I got frustrated. So I stopped doing them for months. Talking to another colleague who has the same type of company I have, she got banging success. Like, what are you doing that I'm not doing? And why is your stuff going through and mine isn't? And it was a disclaimer. Like, just add this at the bottom and you're good.
Oh, yeah.
Shame ad. I'm like, well, did anybody put out a memo that I need?
I mean, they're just trying to like protect themselves. Like, if they get sued, they just want to make sure, even though it's kind of like a little bit, I mean, in my opinion, I think it's some like questionable, especially for small business owners. But I think that they're just trying to be extra strict and just save themselves legally.
Yeah, that's what that is for sure. There's enough trials with Facebook and all these guys in the last few years. So that's what that is. So I want to just take a quick moment for those that are following, watching, that are sharing. Again, we have Maryam with us today. She is the owner, founder of ManifestStrategy.com. If you're looking to get some social media ads going to help boost your business, grow your business, you must reach out to her. Please make sure you do that. This is a must in 2021. You can't hardly do anything in person anymore, so you better live online and let people know that you are here for them to purchase your product or service. So, Maryam, so one question that I have, so our show is called Create Your Future Self Live. There's two questions actually I have for you. So the first one is, where do you see from your vantage point the future of social media ads going? So will we start seeing TikTok ads? I don't know if maybe that's already a thing. I don't know. Like, what's the next thing on the horizon from that? And then part two of that is, where do you see Maryam and Manifest Strategy in the future, in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
I love that. I love the question. I think it's something that I've been really thinking about and putting my time and energy on, is really manifesting really my future, right? So trying to be intentional about how I put my energy out there, how I spend my days, how the people that I surround myself with, So that's something that I'm definitely focused on. And to answer your question sequentially, the first one is social media is not going anywhere anytime soon. If anything, it's going to be even more and more apparent in our lives. I mean, here is a platform like TikTok you mentioned that just kind of came out of the blue over the past couple of years, and now is, especially for the younger generation, like Gen Zers and people under the age of 20 right now, they are completely on TikTok, like more than they are on Instagram and Facebook. And they're on it a lot. So when the user base grows, advertisers flock. So right now, they're really early on. They're really nascent. They haven't quite figured out. I think if for TikTok to really grow and figure their stuff out, they really need to make sure that they have a strong algorithm, because that's why Facebook is winning. So if they can figure that part out, then it's going to be here to stay for sure. But still pretty early on, so it's a little too hard to understand right now whether it's even worth running ads on. But social media is not going anywhere, and Google's not going to go anywhere. Facebook's not going to go anywhere. It depends. It might evolve. Like, should Facebook split up because it's kind of turning into a monopoly? That's a question that's actually being discussed. But being online, our technology it's necessary to thrive and evolve in your business. So I would say that much for that question.
Would you say that where we are with social media now is pretty much where we were with television 70s and the 80s? I mean, like, it was your primary platform for you to get, like, even people get news, whether it's good or not, but they're getting it from social media. I mean, I don't know if there's any stats or data out there versus how many people are looking at a newspaper, your TV, or social media in the day, but I've got to believe that social media is taking a huge chunk of that pie from those other two.
That's a really great question, and also like astute call out, because I can speak about like anecdotally, at my old company, Lending Tree, we had I'm sure you've seen Lending Tree TV ads, right? Over the course of the years. TV was a huge channel for Lending Tree. It was brand. That's where most of the budget went to kind of get more customers, build awareness. Over the years, Google and Facebook has been growing in terms of its effectiveness. So budget has literally shifted from TV to Google and Facebook. And right now it's like not even, it's uncomparable, the amount that's spent. So and that follows kind of the trend. So people are, especially for the younger generation, aren't even getting TVs anymore, because you have everything on your phone. You have HBO now. You have Netflix. You have things you can do. You can connect that, you don't need cable, essentially.
These tablets, that's it. All you need now.
There you go. And so things are evolving, and things are going to continue to evolve to fit convenience. Basically, how can we make humans more lazy? That's always going to win, I think. How can we get the most information as quickly as possible and like as efficiently as possible? That's going to win. Or information/entertainment, right? I mean, I'm going on for a rant right now, but TikTok is literally like 5 to 10 second videos that just keep popping up, and you literally can be there with your mouth open and stare at the most random but entertaining videos for hours. And they know what you want to watch. Like, they just know. Right. So, yeah. That's
pretty cool. That's good stuff. Anything else we should know about this industry, or like really, especially for those people that have maybe there's a more mature person that's coming from 20, 30 years in the workforce. They've run their show as a leader in their industry. Now they've, whether it's due to pandemic or they just finally decided this is the time to go break out on their own, and they're not familiar with any of this platform. Any just beginning steps, obviously they need to reach out to you over at Manifest Strategy, but just any 1 or 2 first steps they should be thinking about as they start to explore this whole social media world?
That's a great question. And I think I view paid media as gasoline and your personal brand or your organic strategy as the fire. So if you have a strong, solid fire going, that's, it has a good foundation, you have a lot of kind of timber around, you can pour gasoline on that and it'll expand. But if you have a tiny little flame, you only have a few sticks, if you pour gasoline, it's just going to put it out. I think that the number one step is really to develop your organic strategy and have a stream of posts going, keeping your customers engaged, having a presence, and having a solid website. Because you can drive all of the paid media you want, but if you're driving people to a page where there's not anywhere that they can go, not a clear action, your checkout page is broken, it's just going to be wasted money. So I would say making sure all of your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted in terms of your just overall presence. And then you can start thinking about paid and how to scale, right? Because that's really what paid media is meant for, how to scale efficiently and profitably. But you gotta have something to start with first.
Great guidance there. Oh my God, that is so important because you're right. I spent probably a year and a half, probably still could use some work on it, but I spent like a year and a half where the site was all, again, you're coming from another generation. You think, oh, you got to tell people all about you and this and that, as opposed to what can you do for them and how easily can they take action on that thing. And so I think that was probably one of the most powerful statements you've made here is like, okay, yeah, these ads are great and you're going to get some attention for sure. But what are you bringing them to attend to? Like, what exactly are you having them look at? It's kind of like, we had another gentleman that's come on here before, Brandon Powell. He always talks about, well, what's the food taste like? You drive, you got this beautiful storefront of your restaurant. People walk in, and then as soon as they take the dip of the spoon into that soup, and it's like, this is cold, it's nasty, they're not coming back. Doesn't matter how pretty that sign is. So making sure that your product or service is of its highest quality, first of all. That's a big part in kind of working your way outside to where the people are that are going to come in is probably another good strategy. So thank you for sharing that. Excellent guidance. Anything else that your future clients need to know about you or how you operate? I guess you do everything through kind of Zoom through your sessions now, or, what is the experience like if somebody signs up with you?
Yeah. So just essentially how it works is I've only gotten recommended people to come to me. I haven't really done a lot of marketing myself just because I work with people and then they kind of share with their kind of network and that's how they come in. So what it does is I just kind of see what their goals are. What are you trying to accomplish? What is your current strategy? Are you currently making sales? Are you currently, getting leads? If not, what's the challenge there? And then I just assess if this would be worth it for you. And there have been a couple of people where I'm like, you know what? I actually don't think running ads is a good idea. I think you should invest that time and that budget into your creative strategy or your website or word of mouth, for example, or your email campaigns. So it's not for everybody, and I make it clear. And the only thing I want to see is just people kind of. I only get an engagement with somebody when I know that it's going to work. So that's the first conversation. And if it turns out, yes, you're primed for paid media, there's definitely going to be an ROI there. You're definitely going to see a profit after X amount of weeks. Then we start into a trial period where we run a test at a smaller budget just to see if there is potential. Because, after the signs are coming through, we want to make sure, like, yes, for sure, this is where you want to put your budget. And then from there, after that trial period, we assess, and then we go into scale mode. And all my clients that I've said, yes, let's just do a trial has kind of graduated to scale mode. So it's mostly that first conversation where we talk and assess whether paid media is even right for you.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's real good. So basically what I hear you saying is you actually take the time to determine if this client is in the proper position to spend that money with you. If they're not, you actually advise them on what you think will be the best direction that they need to take with that money in order to get the profitability that they're looking for.
100%. I mean,
that's awesome.
Sorry?
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think beyond just business growth in general, I think there's spiritual laws that exist in the world that my goal and intention in life is to just provide as much positivity and like love to everybody that I come to into my life, and whether that's advice that'll help them, like I want them to be better coming to me than not. So whether that means not engaging with me in a business sense, I always ask myself, what can I do to give to this person so they can walk away better?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, you already got me sold. You have the most transparent business name in business. Manifest Strategy. If you are out there and you're looking to manifest the strategy to grow your business, see how I did that? You need to hook up with Maryam right there for sure. Get your business growing.
You got the copy. You know, you're already good with the copy.
I have a little practice. A little
bit, right? A little bit.
Too cool. Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you coming on here and sharing some nuggets, not only with, you know, some people out here that are already probably doing some things, but people that just don't understand the whole language of ads on social media. Like it's seems like an always moving target. It's ever changing. It's hard to keep up, but again, thankfully, we have experts in our network that can, you know, help people grow in that space, and definitely something that I've gotten a couple tips here that I plan to look into as well. And you may get a new client from me, especially once I clean up my website again.
Well, it's my pleasure, and thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Maryam, and she is the CEO and founder of ManifestStrategy.com. If you've been following along with us, you see I've dropped her contact information in here several times. We've gotten her, go into that comment section. You have her email address. You have the website. You have her LinkedIn page. I think I've given you guys exactly what you need in order to successfully reach out and touch her and set up a time to have a conversation with her to see how she can help you scale and grow your business. Maryam, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been wonderful. And guys, again, across Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitter, our audience, thank you so much for your faithfulness, for coming out and joining us this evening. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Yeah, if you're on YouTube and this is your first time checking us out, please hit that subscribe button. We come to you every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for Create Your Future Self. And we always have a power-packed guest who's going to drop a few nuggets on you, give you some words of wisdom and that you can use to scale and grow not only your personal and professional life, but also your business. We'll be back again this coming Monday, and we have another amazing guest who's going to give us loads of information. She's been a guest on the show before, so if you've seen her last time, Miss Lynn Delgadio, she's coming back again. If you've not seen her before, you don't want to miss this major episode with health and wellness and mindset shifting. You want to tune in and get some of these tools that Lynn is going to give out for us on next week. So, Vic, you have anything else that you want to say before we go?
No, I just want to let folks know if you are interested in being a guest or you want to get the calendar for the rest of this year, our guest that we're having on every Monday, 6 p.m. Central, email us at createyourfutureselflive@gmail.com, and you'll get all the information that you need there. Until then, thank you so much. Again, Maryam, thank you very much for sharing your expertise with us, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
My pleasure. Be safe out there in the snow.
Right?
Yes, for sure.
Look at it through the window. Through the window. My kids went outside earlier today with my husband to shovel the snow. And so that was not, a short work. They did that a while. Shovel the driveway, shovel the sidewalk. And so my daughter and my son come back in. It's like, look what y'all doing the most. We the only house on the block. We'll go shovel it again before they go to bed. But
oh my God.
This is crazy. Yeah, we're not snow people here. So yeah,
right in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the snow, during winter, but California is making me soft. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you stay safe out there as well. We know you got your own things going on in California, so y'all be safe. And thank you again for joining us. We'll see you guys next week, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on Create Your Future Self Live.
Take care.
Bye.